I am Iron Man.
Just talking about the MCU, I mean, you think of Iron Man as the face.
He's kind of the one who started it all.
I miss that era of Marvel, you know? Because I feel like that's now where after Iron Man left, bro, you saw like this big shift in Marvel now. It's sort of like you're only watching the movies to keep up on like who's getting introduced to the MCU.
What was great about it was like he was really cocky in the game, which, you know, is kind of a down, people look down on. But then kind of like you said, he changed. He became a better man. He cared more about others, did better things, which was great. But then also what I liked is that he still kept that cocky side a little bit as he also, you know, got later into the MCU.
Yeah, like he is the glue to the MCU.
Podcast. This is Down-in-the-Billies.
Welcome everybody, and we're back for our second episode in the MCU miniseries.
Yes.
Talking about Iron Man.
Yes.
Probably the most iconic character of the entire MCU.
Yes.
I would argue.
For sure.
We talked about Spider-Man last week, and, you know, Spider-Man's obviously a big character in Marvel, but, I mean, just talking about the MCU, I mean, you think of Iron Man as the face.
He's kind of the one who started it all.
Kind of. I mean, he is the one who started it all.
I mean, first movie.
First movie,
universe.
yeah. I haven't watched Iron Man movies in a while, dude. It's been a minute. I miss that era of Marvel, you know?
Yeah, the early stages of Marvel, where they're, you know, trying to figure out what works, you know, making stuff up.
Where they didn't rely on, like, cameos at the end of every movie, you know what I mean? Because I feel like that's now where, after Iron Man left, bro, you saw, like, this big shift in Marvel now. It's sort of like, you're only watching the movies to keep up on, like, who's getting introduced to the MCU.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I mean, Iron Man, great character. Tony Stark, I love him.
He has his own wild personality.
He does, but he has a lot of character development.
He does.
I think he had probably some of the best character development of all the superheroes, you know?
For sure.
Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he was, the cocky billionaire playboy in the beginning. And then he kind of became, like, this guy who cared for, you know,
his family and the people around him.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he, like, made the ultimate sacrifice at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just so sad.
Dude,
might have to be Tony.
I know, dude. It's like, I think what makes it even better too is after he left, bro, like the MCU just like declined. It felt like, you know, like,
yeah, like
it's not the same about him there.
Mm-hmm. He had so much character development, and he played such a role with everyone in the MCU.
Right.
How he formed the Avengers.
Dude,
and then,
when you think about it, like Tony Stark was the one that found all these superheroes and put them together. I mean, obviously there's Nick Fury too.
Yeah, the Shield.
But like Spider-Man, all that.
Yeah,
and he really kept the group together. And then when Infinity War, when, you know, Thanos was attacking and everything, he was the one that called them all up and was like,
we gotta do
something
something
back. Yeah. Like he is the glue to the MCU. Mm-hmm. That rhymed.
Glue to the MCU.
Glue to the MCU. I mean, that's just what he is.
About to drop some bars there on the podcast.
We'll start rapping about Iron Man over here. But yeah, I mean, he's just a great character. What did you think of the first Iron Man movie?
I loved it.
You loved it?
I loved just about everything about it.
I think, honestly, it holds up really well.
It really, it does.
As just a movie and like a Marvel movie, it's probably one of the best Marvel movies, I would argue.
I mean, it's very interesting. Great soundtrack, some interesting stuff in there. Had some rock music in there.
AC/DC.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Back in Black.
Right, that's like his like icon. That's like his theme song, pretty much at that point. Yeah, no, it was a great movie. It was, you know, the early days of the MCU before we had all these other movies come out. And for what it did for the superhero genre, I think it made a big impact.
It really did, yeah.
Because you have, like, the two big superhero movies I would consider that were, like, really significant were The Dark Knight, which is DC, and then Iron Man, you know? Because it was, like, at a time when superheroes weren't big.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I love the first movie. I thought it did a great job of introducing his character.
Oh, for sure.
Like, Robert Downey Jr. just portrayed him so well.
Perfect casting. Like, really, you know, a lot of, you know, when they cast, you know, people now, they always try to get the most famous, biggest actor, but really, when it came down to that movie, I mean, it wasn't really all about that. It was just like, who would fit this character the best? It's not, you know, who's the most famous and well-known person in the world.
Well,
because
also at the time, Robert Downey Jr. was also going through his addiction.
Yes, his addiction.
You know, and he
yeah.
got arrested and everything. So
He
he kind of
in
made a
the
comeback
spotlight.
with that movie.
Yeah, he did.
I think it was great. To see him as an actor.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
make that turn around.
Yeah.
And then like even in the movies they kind of portray that a little bit. Like Iron Man is kind of an alcoholic. Pretty sure in the second one, like there's this whole scene where he gets super drunk at this party
Right.
at his house and destroys his whole house.
You know, the question I get asked most often is, Tony, how do you go to the bathroom in the suit? Just like that.
He was dying from the thing in his chest, right? The
reactor core.
The reactor core. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't cross my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was dying from that, and then he kind of just became reckless because of that. But yeah, he really like those 3 movies of the Iron Man trilogy was him figuring out like who he was as a person.
Yeah.
You know, he was someone who didn't care a whole lot about other people, and he was kind of very narcissistic at first. But then you slowly see him become this like, well, obviously he has a family later on and all that, but he cares for other people around him, and he wants to help other people towards the end, you know? So, I mean, what did you think of his like character development throughout like the movies and the whole MCU as a whole?
I thought it was amazing. I mean, what was great about it was like he was really cocky in the game, which, you know, is kind of a down, people look down on. But then kind of like you said, he changed. He became a better man, cared more about others, did better things, which was great. But then also what I liked is that he still kept that cocky side a little bit as he also, you know, got later into the MCU.
Right. Well, he was always funny, you know?
Yeah, he's always cracking jokes and giving freaking people crap, like, you know, Captain America, all those guys.
Right. I feel like Marvel humor hasn't been the same without him. you know? Like, he had that, like, just that charm to him as, you know, a character, and Robert Downey Jr. just did such a good job of his, you know, charisma and how he portrayed him and all that. But yeah, no, he was definitely great. Probably my favorite Marvel.
Probably here is your favorite hero? Definitely the smartest.
Tony Stark's my favorite as like a character.
As a character, yeah.
Hero wise, I don't know.
Hero-wise, maybe not hero, but yeah, character wise, he does have a lot. Yeah.
Who would you say was your favorite hero?
A hero?
Yeah.
I mean,
only MCU. Don't like.
Just and MCU like, what are we just doing the Avengers? Like, cause just, I mean, it's tough. My favorite hero, dude, is one that I don't think about a lot, but it would be tough because, like I said, I like Iron Man. I like Captain America. He's brave. He's, you know, he's a good leader. Does what's right. Same thing, you know. Honestly, I would probably say, like, if I was just saying of likability, you know, cool but also caring, stuff like that, I'm gonna give it to Star-Lord. I'm a big Guardians of the Galaxy guy.
Okay,
I really like that. I really like that.
I can agree with that. I think as like a superhero, just in terms of like their abilities and everything, I would go with the Scarlet Witch because she has some like the coolest abilities.
I mean, yeah, like my guy just listed, you know, Star-Lord. He doesn't have a lot of powers.
No,
but he's still
he's more of like a personality kind of thing, you know.
He's a personality, but he uses that, you know, for his advantage or whatever, like his weapons, all that stuff. So it's it's cool.
Yeah, no, I can definitely agree with that. Like, I think like personality wise, it would either be Star-Lord or Tony Stark for me. You know?
Yeah,
like
I mentioned before, like
Tony Stark was always like joking and everything. He kind of added like a fun sense to the the movies and all that, and Star-Lord like was like the same way where he never took things too seriously. I mean, the first scene, we're getting a little sidetracked here, but the first scene in the movie, you know, he's just dancing while he's like robbing the he's stealing an Infinity Stone, you know, like he kind of stole that movie from that. But with the music playing in the background, no, that was a great scene. Great movies all around.
I mean, even like there's clips like that, and even the first Iron Man movie too. You know, him taking off Back in Black by AC/DC, walking out, he's like looking at all pimp and stuff like that.
Right, like he was a billionaire like pimp kind of guy, you know. And even like I think of some of the funniest scenes was when he was arguing with like Captain America, you know, and the Avengers and all that, and they're kind of going big, you know, back and forth, and then he's trying to get like Bruce Banner all mad. He's like, maybe he should get mad and release some steam. like he was just antagonizing the other characters, you know.
Take that off. What are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
I know guys with none of that worth 10 of you.
those are some probably the funniest scenes of him.
Cap's
in
like,
it.
hey, cut it out, cut it out. He's like, cut it out.
He's like,
yeah.
you know why he shouldn't have get all mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah. I mean, you got any memorable scenes you could think of Iron Man?
There's so many. The one that I've thought about, when we were planning this to record this, I thought of the one scene in the first movie. They interview him. The
lady interviews
yeah,
him?
and she goes, well, what would you call yourself? He goes, billionaire, playboy philanthropist who's like super smart or whatever, something like that. Yeah, and it's such a badass scene. Like, it's just, but then the other ones, like, where he's in the cave,
when he's like hammering
forging the
together
original suit.
Yep.
Yeah, and then he, I really love the scene too where he tries to trick, I think, Ironmonger. Maybe not Ironmonger, but the guy that's trying to take him out. He's the big Hulk, not Hulkbuster suit, but it's the
in the
bigger
second
suit.
movie. I think you're talking about.
Yeah, in the bigger suit where he tries to take him out, and he flies up into the atmosphere and like freezes his suit.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you're talking about. Yep. I think that was like at the end of the movie or whatever.
Yeah. I really like that scene. Him like, oh shit, like trying to like get everything going because it's frozen. Or whatever.
Right. No, that was I remember those scenes, and then like the
third one, he sits in the donut ring or whatever in that donut shop. Have you seen that? Have you seen the third one?
I've seen the third movie. It's just been a minute.
You don't remember it? Okay.
I just don't remember that scene.
There's an iconic scene of him sitting like on top of this store, and on top of the store there's like a big donut shop, and he's like sitting there just munching.
I feel like I know which one you're talking about. Like I think if I seen it, I would recognize it.
Yeah,
right away.
you would.
Yeah. The third movie I really liked too. Like, remember when he had like those little like flashbacks because he was experiencing like PTSD from Avengers, and he was kind of like wasn't because he went over to space and all that, right? And then he was like he never really recovered from that.
Yeah.
So that movie was really cool to see him deal with his anxiety and
it makes the character more real.
Right, because he has problems. Like he's it's he's a billionaire billionaire playboy, like whatever. Like he's a narcissist and all that. I think to have like more of those grounded moments made him like I guess more relatable.
As a character,
complex as a character.
It opens him up. Yeah.
Right. Because in the first movie, he's very like that, stereotypical like.
Yeah, like
douchey.
I'm the man. No one can take me down. Whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they do like make him like smaller,
Mm-hmm.
especially when in the Avengers when he has like other superheroes like Thor and
Yeah.
literal gods and everything. He realizes like, oh, like I'm not like what I thought I was. You know what I mean? And then he goes into space and he kind of like realizes like there's more like I don't know about.
I mean, he literally works with guys that like have no powers. I mean, literally Hawkeye was on the squad. Hawkeye has no powers. Like,
why would you carry a bow and?
Yeah, bro, that's what I think. I think a lot of people forget about Hawkeye, bro.
Right.
Like he's kind of like that character that you don't really think about too often, but has had some effect on how the team has succeeded.
Every character I feel like has had an effect on the team. Obviously, like they
Black
all play
Widow.
their part.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkeye, I just don't know why you'd have a bow in those kind of situations. But yeah, like
he made it work.
he did make it work. Somehow he survived all that, and he had his own TV show, but I didn't finish.
He has a TV show now. Yeah.
Yep. No, but I thought like, and then him with Harley in the third movie, I really liked those scenes.
Yeah.
Because he was a kid, right? But he was also a super smart kid. But it kind of made him step back and realize, like, it made him connect with him more.
Yeah.
And everything.
I'm cold.
I can tell. You know how I can tell? Because we're connected.
And I think those moments were what made him such like a good character that was memorable and all that. And then once you get to Infinity War, like
his whole world gets flipped upside down.
Right,
yes.
right. And he takes on like a mentorship of Spider-Man and all that, which we talked a little bit about last episode. And then he, like I said, he makes like the ultimate sacrifice at the end.
Yeah, he works with like Doctor Strange and all them too.
Yeah, I mean that whole dynamic was funny, them going back
Yeah.
and forth. But yeah, no, it was good.
Yeah, I mean the movie's been out for a long time. It's barely had a lot of time to marinate with fans. I think a lot of them still really love it and go back to it. Like I feel like if I was to mention the movie to somebody, they would be like kind of the first thing they think of, like the first movie.
Right.
I think it's honestly the best out of the 3 or 4. I think
Ironmans.
Yeah.
There's three Ironmans. Yep.
3.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. So I think it's definitely the best out of the 3. I mean, it came out in 2008.
Yeah.
So
I
I mean,
think-
it looked really well for a movie.
Right. I mean, yeah, I definitely agree. It's probably the best one of the entire MCU, and I think most fans, honestly, a lot of people would argue it's the best movie out of the entire
Yeah. I mean, I think some would for sure.
cinematic universe. It's just they spent a lot of time with that movie.
Yeah, which is
And
good.
It really changed the superhero movie genre and all that.
Yeah.
Before superhero movies were super Superman and all that. They were very stereotypical superheroes that were just had perfect traits
Perfect
and all
lives,
that.
yeah.
And we talked about Spider-Man, how he was more relatable, but they took this douchey character and they made him something else.
Lovable, yeah.
They had I don't know. It was a good movie and how they did it and everything.
Yeah.
And then the reveal at the end that he reveals that he's Iron Man.
Yeah.
No one saw that coming from a superhero movie. You know
Yeah,
what
he's
I
just
mean?
like, I'm Iron Man. And then everyone just flips
And
out.
it just cuts to
yeah,
black.
Yeah.
That was so different at the time for a
Uh-huh.
superhero movie. So it was he didn't have to hide his identity, and I think it just made him more interesting.
And I think so too. It was one of the Iron Man was actually one of the first movies to feature a post-credit scene, which really built that
was.
up, which is now a big thing for all Marvel movies. Gotta wait to the end, and
Right.
do that. So that's really cool. I mean, Jon Favreau as a director, I think he's great. He's done a lot of different things.
Yeah.
More recently, he's worked with Disney doing stuff like Star Wars. He did a lot of the Mandalorian stuff, but I think overall he's a good director to have for any sort of movies like that. He's really creative.
Right, and the writing in those movies were so good.
Yeah, because they stick to the comics, but they also veer off a little bit to make it a little more interesting and not
Yeah.
exactly the same.
They
which I like.
have changed a lot from the comics, and Iron Man in the comics wasn't as big as he is in the MCU.
No, he wasn't.
And I think he was a B or a C tier character in the MCU and the comics, but they took him and they made him such a big part of the MCU because they changed so much about him.
Yeah.
His suit, I don't know if you saw his design in the comics, but it's a lot bulkier and
not as sleek.
Not as sleek. And then they changed, and they did make a reference in the first movie to that suit when he built in the cave.
Yeah.
But his sleek design that's so iconic now, I thought was a better change for the movie. you know?
For sure.
And the comics usually are very over the top when it comes to character development and writing and all that. So they made it more realistic in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then what also drives the movie is the side characters, right? You got Pepper Potts,
Yep.
his assistant, who eventually falls in love with and
Yep.
marries. Then he's got Happy, his assistant driver.
Gotta love Happy.
Gotta love Happy. You got Jarvis.
Jarvis, yep.
You got his buddy War Machine. The guy in the
I
military.
really liked him and their dynamic between War Machine and
Yeah, but
Tony
I
Stark.
honestly they switched actors, which I didn't really like in the second movie.
Yeah.
For War Machine, but I like Don Cheadle better.
the new actor. Yeah,
Than the new actor, yeah,
No,
I
I
thought-
liked him better too.
Made me kind of sad when I saw that Don Cheadle left, but
Yeah.
I think it was over some dispute.
Yeah, a lot of the actors have been leaving recently, but
Yeah.
I mean that might just be because how Marvel has been recently.
yeah.
Do you think we're gonna see Iron Man return?
I don't think so, but seeing what they're doing now, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought maybe a female character role into it, because I know in the alternate universes or in the comic books there is a female Iron Man
Right.
who does stuff, so they could make that into something if they wanted to.
I mean, yeah, obviously people want Iron Man back, but I feel like the way he ended
Yeah,
was
it
perfectly
was
done.
perfect.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I even think he spoke about this. Robert Downey Jr. He spoke about this on a podcast with Joe Rogan, where they asked him about it, and he was like, doesn't really make sense for me to come back at that point.
Yeah.
And obviously they could do it with the whole multiverse stuff, but
Yeah, I mean, he has a kid,
Yeah.
but it's like
I don't know. I missed having him.
yeah, but I just don't think they would do it justice.
Right.
They wouldn't be able to. It wouldn't be the same.
because
I
he would
feel
just be
like.
undoing Endgame.
Yeah.
And Endgame was literally his conclusion as a
Mhm.
character and story. And I think, like you said, if they did kind of how they're doing the whole Young Avengers,
Mhm.
maybe Harley came back and was the new Iron Man. The character from the third one, the kid.
Mhm.
Maybe he could be the new Iron Man or someone else. I
I
just
mean,
think
they have a lot of different options.
some way
could
they can
work
carry
with.
his legacy and bring back the old Iron Man suits and all that.
I mean, or even War Machine. War Machine, bro, step up. I mean, he works for the military, but
Right. Well,
Yeah, well,
yeah. He was in the Captain America TV show, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think they have a different like.
They got a different place for him.
Yeah.
They do, but I mean, it's just an option. You know,
Right.
it's still there, but
There's
it's just,
a lot of other options.
it would never really be the same.
Yeah.
Can't take Tony Stark.
No, and I think the actor is the reason why we like love him so much. you know?
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
did such a good job,
Mm-hmm.
and it's crazy is that I don't remember a lot of other movies with him in it.
No, there's not a lot of movies with him in it. I mean, there's definitely some movies that he's in. They're not massive by any means, but there's not many.
No, I feel like Iron Man is his role. Like that's who
his,
you know him
That's
as.
his.
That's his
thing.
movie. You know how a lot of
That's his
actors
thing.
have like that one movie.
Yeah.
That's his movie. You know.
Yeah, like who's another actor like that? Probably
Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter. Like
Yeah, or even like I was thinking of the guy who plays Marty McFly in the Back to the Future.
oh
movies.
yeah.
Michael J. Fox.
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, like that's who he's gonna be remembered for at like forever. You know?
yeah, yeah.
And I think that happens with a lot of actors. The only actor I can really think, or only couple actors, would be like Leo DiCaprio. You know, someone who's
Yeah.
so well diverse that he's played in so many other roles.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think Robert Downey Jr. is a great actor, like in
Yeah.
general. You know, he was in Oppenheimer and all that,
Mhm.
so and he did a great job in that.
Yeah,
as
he
well. But like Iron Man he played Iron Man so perfectly,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, I don't know, he just did a great job.
Which is the thing to think about too, because some actors like they hate that stuff. They hate being known as that one
that
guy.
one guy, yeah,
Like the person I really think of, well, when it comes to like this person is stuck in that role, most time people assume they have to, if they're gonna play a movie, they got to be like this certain type. Would be Jonah Hill. For the longest time, he was like that funny fat guy.
fat guy. that
He was
got
only
made
in
fun of.
comedies, and
Yeah.
then he got mad or whatever, lost a bunch of weight. Good for him, by the
Yeah.
way, and then he expanded, started directing his own movies,
Yeah.
and now he's doing great, so.
Yeah, well, they always used to make fun of him in like interviews and
Yeah,
everything.
they make fun of him. He gets so mad and upset. Like
Right.
I think he actually broke down once in like an interview. Like he had to leave.
Yeah.
He couldn't because it was just too much.
Like they really like took advantage of that, and
Yeah,
it's
it's Hollywood.
it's
man.
hard, and when you're an actor, especially an upcoming actor, you kind of have to like take those.
You gotta have. I mean, yeah.
you
if
don't have a lot of choices,
Yeah, if you
unless
wanna
you're an
make money.
A-list actor like Brad
Mhm.
Pitt or somebody. Like
Yeah.
you take what you can get, and
hmm
sometimes you don't always get the best roles or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Robert Downey Jr. is great, and yeah,
We're saying all goods, but really, it was a great movie.
It was.
It got nominated for 2 Oscars.
right. I don't think any other Marvel movie's been nominated for Oscars besides Winter Soldier. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I think maybe only one other movie,
But
not many.
Yeah, like that movie, like I said, was done so
Really
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think Tony Stark is so liked and so memorable as a character? We kind of talked about this. a
Well,
little bit.
because obviously we said he's relatable. His attitude towards everything,
Right.
personality, all of that, like big like beliefs and value stuff that people love, but also just his character. Because realistically, he's not a superhero. He has no powers.
right.
He's just super smart. He has a bunch of tech. And with the way our world's going now, we have a bunch of tech. We could maybe come up with something like that, but it would be hard. But it's somewhat imaginable,
Yeah.
right? Like it could be possible.
I
So
don't think we're quite there, but we're getting towards there yet.
yeah.
you know?
So it's like, I think that's what drives people. They love the tech. How he can flaunt himself and do all these different things, and it's like, wow, what if tech, got like this crazy in the future or whatever? It's
right. Yeah, because he always had these different like suits and power ups in every other movie.
Yeah.
He had like some new suit, like when he made like the one for like the Hulk and
Yeah.
all that, and obviously him as a character, his personality, it was always interesting to watch him on screen.
Yeah, like everyone's always talking about the future, like, in the future we're gonna have this and that and
Yeah,
this and that.
yeah.
It's like, well, maybe, I don't know.
It's funny how we always portrayed the future.
Yeah, they always just portray it really crazy.
Right, and then like 50 years come by, and it's like it's not even close.
Yeah,
to that,
not
you
even
know?
close to that.
Like
yeah.
Back to the Future did a flying cars and all that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're not even close to that.
Mhm.
But I think in a way, his character and his like suits was somewhat realistically portrayed.
Yeah, too. Like, it's not like overly like, insane. Like he shoots blasters out of his hands. He can fly. I guess that that's not too crazy. Using the jets.
Right. There's been some like
Some
similar
guns.
developments to it.
Yeah.
obviously not in the level where we can just press a button. We're not, we just press the button, the whole suit comes around him. Like, we're not there yet, but I think they portrayed it for what it was in a realistic way. It was grounded.
Yeah, they had Jarvis, the AI, and stuff like that. Which we have AI now.
Yep.
So
and then he had that
the chest
reactor and everything. In the second movie, it got it started poisoning him and all that.
Yeah, he had to replace it.
Yeah, stuff like that. It made it more grounded, I guess.
Yeah, more grounded.
In the MCU.
More human.
Yeah, and I think the movie I really liked was Civil War.
Yeah.
Because that was the movie where Tony Stark, he started to realize what they were doing, because they killed a lot of people during the events of Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
And it kind of made it oh shit, not being a superhero is not all like that.
Yeah.
I think that really was a big part of his character development too, I really liked that movie just because it took a step back.
It was interesting too to see that Captain America and Iron Man go against each other. Actually,
right?
You wouldn't think they're
right.
They've worked together. They wouldn't want to do that. But it made it really interesting.
Yeah. What side were you on?
Shoot, bro. I'm gonna go Team Iron Man, bro.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. I can't remember. What were they arguing over though?
It was something. I mean, it was something kind of.
Weren't they trying to become their own organization or something?
Or something like that. And I think Captain America didn't want to have other heroes in it. And
right. Well, that was also after the whole Ultron thing happened.
Yeah.
Because Tony Stark, I think, obviously he built Ultron. So in a way, he felt responsible for what happened that last movie.
Yeah.
Because, Ultron became his own AI and everything, and then started destroying stuff. And speaking of which, I really thought I thought that movie was underrated.
Age of Ultron?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, I think it was a little bit underrated too.
I like the way Ultron was portrayed as a villain.
Yeah.
He was just, I don't know, he was just done really well. He had a lot of good quotes.
Yeah.
Everybody always talks about Thanos, but I think Ultron did a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it really made Tony Stark realize he can make mistakes too,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and then the freaking the times in the movies too, in the third movie, Pepper almost dies. He has to go and save her and use all of his suits,
Oh yeah.
Dude, I love that scene too, where he just calls them all in, they just fly out. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Hulkbuster being probably one of the biggest well-known suits.
Yep.
That a lot of people talk about.
And then the suits he makes for Iron Man and all that.
Mm-hmm.
He really carried the entire Avengers.
Yeah, I mean, he made over 50 different styles of suits. He was really into it,
Yeah, I mean, he was a super genius. He even discovered time travel while he was doing dishes.
It's just insane how he can just do that. He's just so smart.
Right. He just knew all these things, but at the same time, he made mistakes,
Yeah.
He wasn't perfect, and he had issues with his his family and everything, that whole relationship he had with his dad, where they didn't have a whole lot of time together.
Yeah.
It felt emotional, and then his parents died too, which also kind of hurt him.
Parents died,
and he makes a lot of mistakes, and the quote, he always learns from his mistakes, but he has these moments that bring him back down.
Shoot, some of the original comics too for him were, I don't think it was really intended for it to get that big really originally. It wasn't Stan Lee that wrote up Iron Man in the first place. Yeah, came out in the first comic with him, and it was 1963, and it was just a little series they were doing, and they put him in there just as an idea. But then Stan Lee saw him and was like, I love this, he doesn't have actual superpowers, but he can still help, and so it stuck.
Yeah, but even in the comics, he wasn't this big character yet.
No, he wasn't. He just was guy helping out, just like Spider-Man in the beginning too. Just I got bit by a spider. And
right. Except for he didn't have any superpowers.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Actually, Iron Man's based. I think for the movie they based him off some actual real life people.
Did they? Oh well, I know they based him off Elon Musk, right?
Elon Musk is one of them. Which Elon Musk did make a small appearance in the second movie.
Yes.
And then another person they based him off of was a very famous billionaire named Howard Hughes.
I've heard of the name because isn't there like the Hughes magazine or something?
Yeah, I don't know what he did to make all of his money, but he was a very successful, like, money savvy guy who flaunted his, everything everywhere.
That just sounds like a billionaire name. Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
Like,
The last name Hughes is Maker's proper, bro. Hughes. It's classy.
Yeah, it sounds classy. Howard Hughes. Elon's.
And Elon. We know who Elon is.
Elon, yeah. His, let's just say he wasn't a great actor.
Yeah, Elon's not the best actor. Stick to making rocket ships.
Like, I remember his role in Iron Man 2, and he had like a brief, like, I think he said like one line of dialogue to him.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
it just didn't didn't flow.
It was kind of forced. Like, they were like, yeah, they just threw him in there.
Just threw him in there.
Absolutely. It can be.
Great, make it us.
Okay. Mr. Musk, how are you?
Congratulations on the promotion.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Those Merlin engines are fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, good idea for an electric jet.
You do?
Yeah.
Then we'll make it work. You want to...
And then him on SNL was also bad too.
SNL.
I don't know if you saw that.
I haven't seen it.
That was back when Dogecoin was blowing up because he was promoting it.
Oh yeah, I do remember him getting some flack though, or for like naming his kid a bunch of like numbers and letters.
Yeah, and like that's just I don't know what he was up to.
I don't know. Elon's the unique guy.
Yeah. I don't know if he's like really reminds me of Tony Stark though as a character.
Yeah, I mean, like the only thing I really think of like when I compare them is just like money. Like
yeah, like they both have
a bunch of money,
but
they're super smart. That too.
Yeah, but like personality wise, like,
not there.
No,
probably more Howard Hughes for the personality.
Yeah, I don't remember Howard Hughes, but
shoot, bro. I mean, we can look him up and
pull up that clip real quick. I don't have my
put
phone
up a photo of Howard Hughes. Hold on, where's my? Oh well, actually I can't use my.
You're recording it right now. Okay,
it's okay.
I will edit in a clip later of Howard Hughes.
Hughes.
I'll add something in on it. But yeah, no.
And then I mean, just like in the movies too, really, iconic characters too in the first three movies that didn't all have superpowers.
Dude, the villain in the third movie, the Mandarin. I thought he was really iconic too.
Yeah, well, one of them, he turned like fire. He was like a flame dude. He was like a mutant. He made mutants. That was the third one.
Yep.
The second one was the guy who just invented the those whips, those electric whips. Remember that?
Yeah, because he was on the racetrack, right? And
yeah, dude. I thought that was wild. That guy was like, I actually was kind of scared of him when I saw that movie. I'm like, that guy's kind of scary. He looked like an actual criminal.
Right. Yeah, no, the villains were. I don't remember the first two villains that much, but I do remember the last one because he came back. I'm pretty sure, right? The Mandarin.
I don't know.
He was in the whole like Wakanda stuff. I thought
he might have been. I know like the biggest guys in the comics was the Mandarin, but then also Crimson Dynamo, Ironmonger, obviously, and then Justin Hammer.
Yep, I remember Ironmonger.
Ironmonger.
Yeah.
But she had like an iron suit too. So
yeah. What did you think of the villains?
I thought they were all right.
I
did like some of them didn't have powers, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Except like a lot of times now, like there always got to be some kind of guy with some kind of powers, Right. So it made it more realistic too, because like the one guy with the whips or whatever, like he was just super smart, like Tony. So like it was just brains versus brains the entire time,
right?
Instead of just like, oh, I can freaking summon a hammer from Asgard.
Yeah.
So
I also found it kind of funny how a lot of other villains in other Marvel movies and shows were because of Tony Stark and his Stark Industries. Like Mysterio from Spider-Man, and Scorpion and all those. Those came because of Tony Stark, and I can't remember who else, but there was a couple other villains that was all of that. Like he really affected the entire movies, all the way after like he died and everything. He's still...
I mean, if you're like so smart that you come with little time travel, your name's gonna spread. Right. And then on top of that, like he has all that fancy technology. Of course, someone's gonna want to have it, take advantage of it.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just remember all the villains being really mad at him, like, man, he screwed me over.
Yeah, he screwed me over or whatever.
I'll get him back. I'll get you back, Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, buddy. he's just like,
whatever.
Okay.
And he just defeats him in the next movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, his villains are. Yeah, he has some good.
You're gonna
villains.
get a blaster to the face.
Yeah. I mean, did you like the more like grounded side that he brought, or do you like the more cosmic stuff?
I like the more grounded stuff. I
Do
really
you?
do. Yeah.
Really? Okay. I personally, I'm a little more cosmic.
Yeah, I think superpowers are cool, but I also like it that a hero can be more relatable.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I do like the cosmic like entities that we're starting to get into, like characters like the Celestials and all that.
Yeah.
I think those are cool. When they add more, I guess like character develop dynamics to them. But I definitely think grounded. I think I like the grounded ones too.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some cool, like, cosmic, whatever, bad guys, villains, whatever you want to call them. I mean, you got Thanos, iconic,
Right.
and then, a bunch of
Thanos.
other Thanos is the
You got
biggest one,
Thanos.
so I'm going to keep it Thanos. But,
Thanos, Dormammu.
but even just, like, in, like, the Black Panther movies, too, like, the villains weren't really crazy, super powerful either.
No.
I know the newest one, there was one that was kind of cosmic.
The
Like,
guy
he could,
that
like,
had the little wings for shoes.
yeah,
on.
and he could control
But
water.
the first one
The first one, yeah. it
was the
just-
guys that were stealing. That were trying to steal the.
What's the name for the material?
Come on, I can't think of it. It's vibranium.
Vibranium.
Yep.
Yeah, there you
Yep.
go. And it was like it was his
Killmonger.
brother. Yeah,
Killmonger.
Killmonger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was I like that.
Played by Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. No, I think for the first movies of the MCU, I think it was a good idea to keep it very grounded.
Yeah, the original Avengers was pretty grounded, stuff like that. Yeah.
They didn't try bringing in Thor yet. Like they kept it to a very, like a person, instead
Yeah.
of some, big superhero. And I think that laid a good foundation for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still.
Yeah, I mean they made I think I don't know what the next movie they made. I know they made the Incredible Hulk movie, which kind of flopped.
Right.
Not a lot of people talk about that
Yeah.
movie.
Wasn't that before Iron? No, that came after Iron Man.
It was after.
It was right after.
It was like right after, but it really did not have a big success.
But they really they don't even acknowledge.
No,
it
they don't even
anymore.
really acknowledge it now.
Like I think to me for the MCU, it goes Iron Man 1 and then Iron Man 2. Like we can just forget about the Incredible Hulk. It was.
I mean, it wasn't really memorable by any
No.
means. Like people remember it for being like a flop. Like,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So we went Iron Man, then went Iron Man 2, and then we got Thor after that.
Yeah, and Thor was a really good movie.
Right, because at the end of Iron Man 2, that's when they had the first cliffhanger or post-credit scene, not cliffhanger.
And they had freaking that love interest in Thor 2. What was her name? Who was the girl he was in love with?
The one that Natalie Portman played.
Yeah.
Jane.
Jane.
Yep,
Yeah,
Jane,
Jane,
yep.
which actually affects him later on in the series, which is
Yep.
cool. He kind of turns into a slob and gets fat. But
Yeah.
Jane rejected me, guys.
Yeah. No, Thor's a good character too, but and then we had a couple other movies go by. Then we had the Avengers with him. He came back in that, and he kind of became that leader of the group and everything. You know?
he turned himself around.
Right, and then he dealt with that. Then after Avengers, he had that whole PTSD thing because he went into space and he thought everybody was gonna die around him.
Talking about Iron Man or Thor?
Iron Man.
Yeah.
You remember that, right?
Well, yeah, he had PTSD. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he just like I said, he kind of became like that older mentor figure and
Yeah, which was really cool to see. Because I feel like a lot of the younger superheroes and characters they don't really have a lot of figures to look up to.
Right.
So it's cool to see Iron Man be there for him, especially since Peter Parker's uncle and aunt were gone.
Yeah, well, the whole group just feels split up now.
Yeah,
there's no
now,
one to hold them together. And Iron Man or Tony Stark was that guy.
I think later on they try to make Captain America more of a prominent guy to help hold them together.
They did, but they also got rid of Captain America.
They got rid of America, which
so
he's the one who started it all, relatively. So it's you can't.
Yeah,
It's not.
Who do you have now besides Nick Fury? But hasn't really been.
Nick Fury.
He hasn't really been a big part of the movies,
Mm-hmm.
We need another Iron Man who kind of just
Type character.
Yeah, he only had 3 movies in the MCU, but he was so in the background of all the other movies.
Yeah.
That he held it together, and we just don't have a character like that anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's why I feel so like disconnected.
Such unique personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he helps all the other superheroes, and he's the one that found like Spider-Man and all that. Like, we need a character like that back.
Which they could definitely do something. Probably maybe snag another guy from the comics that isn't necessarily mentioned yet. So
Right.
And there's a lot of guys in the comics, so you get a lot of options.
Yeah. All right, dude. I think we're gonna wrap this episode up.
Wrap it up here.
Been a
We
good
love
one.
Iron Man. This is Down the Billies, you know.
Down the Billies, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching.